Real strength has never been about how loud you can speak or how fast you can move when things go wrong. It is not proven in how aggressively you respond, but in how deeply you can remain composed when everything around you demands a reaction. Real restraint is the unseen power that separates the wise from the impulsive. It takes more courage to pause than to attack. Real more wisdom to wait than to strike, and more maturity to stay silent than to argue. The world teaches you to prove yourself through action, but true mastery is found in the ability to hold yourself back when your emotions scream for expression. Restraint is not weakness. It is strength under control. It is when you could explode, but choose not to, when you could fight back, but choose peace instead. Real. Every person will be tested in moments where reaction feels like the only choice. Someone will provoke you, misunderstand you, or challenge your patience. Those moments are not accidents. Real. They are divine opportunities for you to discover how much power you truly hold inside. Anyone can react. It takes no discipline to do that. But it takes character to stand still, breathe, real, and choose a response that reflects your values instead of your emotions. The measure of a person's maturity is not how they act when things are easy, but how they behave when they are misunderstood. Real, mistreated, or misjudged reaction is born out of ego, but restraint is born out of purpose. When you live with purpose, real, you stop allowing every small disturbance to shake your focus. There are times when silence speaks louder than confrontation. When you refuse to react, you rob negativity of the attention it craves. You protect your energy from being drained by what does not deserve your peace. Restraint gives you time to think, to process, to see beyond the surface. It allows wisdom to rise above emotion. Real, the most powerful people in history were not those who responded to every insult or challenge. They were those who understood that not everything deserves an answer. Restraint gives you the advantage of vision, the ability to see beyond the moment into the outcome. Reaction often feels good for a second, but restraint brings long-term victory. Every situation in life carries two roads: reaction or restraint. Reaction leads to regret, but restraint leads to respect. When you respond too quickly, you often say what you don't mean and do what you can't undo. But when you wait, you allow your spirit to guide you instead of your frustration. Restraint is not a passive act. It is an intentional decision to protect your dignity. Real. It is the art of mastering your emotions before they master you. Life rewards those who can remain calm when others panic, patient when others complain, and focused when others get distracted. Real. The person who can hold peace in the middle of pressure carries authority that words cannot explain. Real. There is a quiet power that comes from being unmoved. When others expect you to break, and you choose to remain steady, you show that your strength is not dependent on external validation. You have found a center that the world cannot shake. That is the kind of strength that intimidates confusion and silences chaos. It is the strength that comes from understanding who you are and what you stand for. When you know your purpose, you don't have to fight every battle. Real. You choose your battles wisely because you understand that peace is too expensive to waste on trivial matters. Restraint is also a reflection of trust. It is the belief that do not have to fight for everything because some things will align on their own. It means believing that time, truth, and integrity will reveal what emotion cannot. There is a divine timing in every conflict, real, and those who act too quickly often miss the lesson hidden inside the delay. The moment you learn to trust the process, you stop needing to prove your worth in every argument. Real. You no longer chase validation because restraint has taught you that silence can be more powerful than speech. To act without restraint is to live as a slave to your emotions. To act with restraint is to become the master of your own destiny. Every time you control a reaction, you grow stronger internally. You create space between what happens to you and how you respond. Real. That space is where wisdom is born. It's where strength matures and purpose becomes clear. Reaction closes that space. It pushes you to respond instantly, to satisfy the urge of pride. But restraint opens that space, allowing understanding and perspective to guide you. The more you practice restraint, the greater your control over your life becomes. There will always be people who mistake your restraint for weakness, who think your calm means you don't care. But what they fail to understand is that your silence is not surrender. It is strategy. You are not ignoring the moment. You are mastering it. You are refusing to give your peace away cheaply. In a world that celebrates noise, your calm will always stand out. True strength doesn't need to announce itself. It proves itself in composure. When you walk through storms and remain steady, when you face betrayal and still choose integrity, when you feel anger and still choose kindness, that is the highest expression of power. Restraint is the foundation of leadership, because leaders cannot afford to be reactive. They must think beyond emotion and act with clarity. Those who lead with reaction create chaos, but those who lead with restraint create order. Real. A calm leader inspires confidence because their steadiness becomes a source of stability for others. People naturally follow those who don't panic, who don't lash out, who can hold their peace when everything falls apart. Restraint is the invisible thread that holds influence together. Without it, strength becomes aggression and wisdom turns into arrogance. But with it, power becomes purposeful and strength becomes sacred. The discipline of restraint is developed in private before it is revealed in public. It grows in the moments when you want to respond but choose to pause. It is trained in silence, in patience, in the small decisions where no one is watching. Over time, that inner discipline becomes your natural state. You stop needing to defend yourself against every opinion because you've learned that truth doesn't need protection. Real. You stop reacting to every attack because you've realized that not all noise deserves your attention. The one who can stay calm under pressure is the one who will always rise above it. Restraint is not about ignoring injustice or pretending not to care. It is about knowing the right time to act. There are moments when silence is strength, and there are moments when action is required. Real. But restraint teaches you to know the difference. It teaches you to respond from purpose rather than emotion. Real. to move from understanding rather than impulse. It refines your judgment and sharpens your perspective. When you master restraint, you stop being easily manipulated by circumstances or people. You learn to carry peace as your armor, wisdom as your weapon, and patience as your defense. There is beauty in quiet strength. Real, the person who can hold their peace in a storm possesses a power that few ever understand. The storm may rage, but restraint keeps you anchored. It allows you to observe without absorbing, to respond without reacting, real, and to act without losing yourself in the process. That kind of strength cannot be faked. It must be built, trained, and tested. Every challenge, every conflict, every misunderstanding is an invitation to practice restraint, to rise above emotion, and to prove that true strength is not how hard you can hit, but how steady you can stand. Peace is not the absence of problems. Real, it is the presence of inner stability in the middle of them. It is that quiet confidence that tells you, no matter how loud the world becomes, you will not lose your center. Your peace is sacred because it governs your ability to think clearly, to love purely, and to make decisions wisely. Real. When your peace is disturbed, everything else begins to fall apart. You stop seeing with clarity, you start reacting from emotion, and you lose the strength that comes from calm awareness. Peace is not weakness. It is your most powerful weapon in a world that constantly tries to shake your balance. Protecting your peace means valuing your inner world more than the noise of the outer one. It means choosing calm over chaos, focus over distraction, and purpose over provocation. Everyday life will try to steal your peace through unexpected events, negative people, and unplanned challenges. But the battle is not outside of you, it is within you. Real. The moment you understand that peace begins inside, you stop trying to control everything around you. You realize that true power comes from mastering your reactions, not manipulating your surroundings. The world may not slow down for you, but you can slow down internally. You can breathe when others panic, think when others shout, and move with clarity when others move with confusion. That is the power of peace. It gives you control over your inner climate. Even when the external climate is unpredictable, there will always be people who thrive on drama, real, who try to pull you into their emotional storms. But you must remember that their chaos does not have to become your reality. Protecting your peace requires boundaries. It means knowing when to walk away, when to stay silent, and when to guard your heart from energy that drains you. You do not have to attend every argument you're invited to. Real. You do not have to explain yourself to those who have already decided not to understand you. Peace is too expensive to waste on proving a point. When you understand your worth, real, you stop trading your calm for temporary satisfaction. The moment you defend your peace, you start defining your life on your terms. Peace gives you perspective. It allows you to see beyond offense, beyond frustration, beyond the immediate pain of the moment. When you are peaceful, you begin to notice that not every battle deserves your energy, not every comment requires your answer, and not every setback deserves your attention. Peace is clarity. It helps you separate what matters from what is meaningless. Real. People who lack peace are often reactive because their emotions are louder than their purpose. But those who carry peace are different. They think before they move, they wait before they speak, and they observe before they judge. They understand that every reaction is an investment of energy, and wise people spend their energy wisely. Peace is the foundation of creativity and wisdom. You cannot build anything meaningful from a restless mind. When your mind is cluttered with noise, fear, or anger, your vision becomes blurred. But when you protect your peace, your thoughts begin to align with your purpose. You start hearing ideas clearly, making choices confidently, and trusting yourself fully. That stillness is not laziness, it is alignment. It is a place where decisions are born from clarity instead of chaos. Every great thinker, every visionary, every builder of destiny learns to dwell in the space of calm awareness, where noise has no power and doubt has no voice. Protecting your peace also means being selective with what you consume. The conversations you entertain, the environments you stay in, and the thoughts you allow to repeat in your mind. All these things feed your inner state. You cannot keep peace while constantly exposing yourself to conflict. You cannot expect calm if you are surrounded by constant noise. Protecting your peace may require solitude, silence, and separation from the familiar. But in that silence, your soul heals, your mind resets, and your spirit grows strong again. Many people fear being alone because they confuse solitude with loneliness. But solitude is where peace is born. It is where you reconnect with yourself, where you remember that you don't need to chase peace. You already carry it inside you. Peace gives you discernment. It allows you to sense when something is wrong, even before it's visible. A peaceful mind is a sensitive mind. It can detect tension before it turns into conflict, deception before it turns into betrayal, and danger before it turns into disaster. That sensitivity is not paranoia, it's spiritual awareness. When your mind is calm, your intuition becomes sharper because you're no longer clouded by emotional noise. That is why protecting your peace is not just emotional wisdom, it is strategic intelligence. It keeps you aware without being anxious, aware without being afraid, and ready without being restless. People will sometimes mistake your peace for indifference. They will not understand how you can stay calm when others would panic. But peace is not about not caring, it is about caring wisely. It's about knowing what deserves your attention and what does not. You don't allow temporary noise to interrupt your permanent purpose. You learn to stay grounded even when others lose balance. You understand that peace is not the absence of pressure, it's the presence of control under pressure. When you can stand still while the world spins, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You have become the master of your atmosphere. The more you protect your peace, the more you will attract stability. People who live in peace draw opportunities that align with calmness, clarity, and confidence. Turbulent minds attract turbulent lives, but peaceful minds attract order. Peace changes the energy you carry into every room. It speaks before you speak. It builds trust because people sense that you are not moved by emotion, but guided by wisdom. That is why peace is the mark of true power. It commands respect without demanding it. It influences without intimidation, leads without noise, and heals without words. Peace is also the foundation of faith. It is trusting that even when you don't understand what's happening, things are still working in your favor. It's refusing to let fear dictate your emotions or anxiety define your days. It's believing that what is meant for you will not pass you by, and what is not meant for you cannot stay, no matter how hard you try to hold it real. That kind of faith produces unshakable peace because it roots you in something deeper than control. It roots you in trust. And trust is where your real power begins. Protecting your peace means protecting your mind from overthinking, your heart from bitterness, and your time from distractions. It means you no longer allow everything to enter your spirit. Real, you become intentional about what you entertain and what you release. Not every thought deserves your meditation. Not every memory deserves your attention. Not every emotion deserves your reaction. Peace is choosing yourself without apology. Real, it is choosing to be calm even when chaos demands your anger. It is choosing to stay still even when pressure tries to push you. Real, every time you protect your peace, you strengthen your power. You remind the world that your emotions do not control your destiny, and that your calm is not for sale. Confidence is not a product of noise or pride. Real, it is the quiet assurance that comes when a person learns to rule their inner world. Many people confuse confidence with arrogance. Real, but real confidence has nothing to do with the ego. It is the calm authority that rises when emotions no longer dictate your choices. It is knowing who you are even when no one else understands you, knowing what you must do even when fear whispers otherwise. Every human being faces emotions that try to lead them, fear that paralyzes, anger that blinds, insecurity that weakens. But confidence begins the moment you refuse to be led by them. It is the maturity of mind that says, real, I may feel this, but I am not this. I may be afraid, but fear will not choose my path. I may be hurt, but pain will not speak for me. Real, when emotions rule decisions, life becomes unstable. One day you move by excitement, the next by doubt. You start things and never finish them, speak words that you regret, and make promises you cannot keep. But when emotions lose control, a new kind of power takes over, the power of clarity. You begin to see life through truth, not through temporary feelings. You begin to act from principle, not pressure. Confidence grows in the soil of consistency, and consistency is impossible when emotions sit in the driver's seat. Real confidence is the result of mastering yourself long enough to make choices that align with your vision even when your feelings resist. It takes discipline to separate what you feel from what you must do. Every dreamer has moments of doubt, but doubt does not have to define direction. Every leader faces frustration, but frustration does not have to shape decisions. Emotion can cloud judgment. It makes you rush when you should wait, and wait when you should act. But confidence is the ability to pause, to breathe, to think before reacting. It is the art of allowing wisdom to speak louder than emotion. Real people who live by emotion often find themselves trapped in cycles of regret. Real, but those who live by clarity move from one level of peace to another. They are not perfect, they are simply steady. They may feel deeply, but they choose wisely. Confidence is a discipline, not a feeling. It grows when you show up even when you don't feel ready. It grows when you act with integrity, even when no one is watching. Real. It grows when you continue moving forward despite fear, insecurity, or fatigue. Emotions can be unpredictable, but purpose is not. Confidence grows stronger every time you honor purpose over emotion. You begin to realize that feelings are signals, not instructions. They tell you what is happening inside, but they do not have the authority to define what happens next. Real. The moment you learn this, you stop apologizing for your calm and stop explaining your silence. You realize that confidence is not noise, it is control. It is not arrogance, it is alignment. There will be moments when others test your calmness, when their behavior invites you to react. Real. When your environment tries to shake your peace. But confidence is not about showing strength, it is about staying grounded. It is knowing that your reaction is your responsibility. The person who controls your emotions controls your actions. Real. The person who controls your actions controls your outcomes. Therefore, emotional mastery is not an option. Real. It is a necessity for confidence. To rule your life, you must first rule your reactions. To rule your reactions, you must first understand your emotions. You cannot command what you refuse to confront. Real. You must acknowledge your feelings without becoming enslaved by them. Confidence requires awareness. It is born when you begin to assert your emotions without obeying them. It is when you can say, I am angry, but I choose peace. I am hurt, but I choose patience. I am unsure, but I will move forward. That is strength in its purest form, the ability to act correctly even when you feel deeply. The more you practice this, the more stable you become. Stability breeds confidence because your trust shifts from emotions to principles. Real. You begin to trust your judgment, your timing, your vision. You stop depending on motivation and start depending on discipline. Real. Motivation is emotional, but discipline is spiritual. It does not depend on how you feel. It depends on what you know is right. Real. Confidence is quiet because it doesn't need to prove anything. It doesn't chase validation or fear rejection. Real. It understands that emotions like fear and doubt are temporary, but purpose is eternal. When you stop letting your emotions dictate your direction, you stop being tossed around by life. Real. You move with purpose even when others move with panic. You stand with conviction even when others crumble under pressure. Real. Confidence does not mean you never feel fear. It means fear no longer makes your choices. It no longer has the authority to stop your steps or silence your voice. In moments of emotional intensity, confidence whispers reason. When anger says, "Act now," confidence says, "Wait." When fear says, "Don't try," confidence says, "Move anyway." When insecurity says, "You're not enough," confidence answers, "I am growing." That conversation between emotion and wisdom happens inside every person. But only those who choose wisdom find peace. Confidence is not the absence of emotion. It is the leadership of emotion. It is when you sit on the throne of your soul and emotions serve rather than rule. There is freedom in emotional control. Real. When you are no longer driven by every emotional wave, you gain mastery over your destiny. The world around you may change, but your direction remains clear. You stop being reactive and start being proactive. You stop chasing comfort and start building purpose. Emotions will always visit you. Fear, anger, real, disappointment. But they will no longer build your house. Confidence turns emotion into energy, pain into perspective, and doubt into discipline. That transformation is what separates the unstable from the unshakable. Real. People who live without emotional control often look powerful but are fragile inside. They speak loudly but think little. They chase applause but lose authenticity. But those who master emotion move differently. Their presence carries peace because they have learned that control of emotion is control of energy. When your emotions no longer control your decisions, your energy no longer leaks into chaos. You begin to walk with a sense of authority that doesn't shout. It simply exists. Confidence is not built in public applause. It is forged in private moments, when you choose peace over panic. Confidence also deepens when you forgive. Real. Unforgiveness is an emotional prison. It traps your power in the past. You cannot be confident while carrying resentment, because resentment clouds perspective. Emotional control means learning to release what no longer serves your growth. It means choosing peace even when you could choose revenge. Real. It means being emotionally mature enough to know that reacting to pain only multiplies it. Forgiveness is not approval, it is freedom. It is the release of emotional weight so your confidence can rise again. As you grow, you will realize that emotional stability is the true definition of strength. Anyone can be confident when things are going well, but real confidence is revealed when you can stay calm under fire. Real. When you can continue making wise choices while feeling chaos inside, you have discovered inner mastery. That is where growth happens. Every challenge that triggers your emotions is not meant to break you, but to train you. It shows you where you still react, where you still fear, where you still doubt. Real.